What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. Today's SPY was down 1.39% with a perfect rejection from that price target at 475. And this should not be surprising because we are looking for the possibility of a pullback and we are just waiting for price to tell us when it's time. And I do believe this candle is a very good start to what could be telling us we're due for that pullback. But we will need price action to break this support at 467 to tell us that we're going to continue lower. So remember, when you're following price, you don't predict what's going to happen, because if we come down to support and we start to bounce and you assume we're going to break down, then you have a bias and you're not following price. If we break that support, then we're looking for the next support lower at 462, and the most critical support is still the breakout at 458. So this support right here is what you should be paying attention to tomorrow, because whether we bounce or break below this support level is going to depend on whether we're going lower or if this is just another higher low before we continue to blast off to brand new all-time highs. Now, one thing I want to show you is that Bank Trade Alerts continues to make brand new all-time highs, and remember that Bank can go long or short with the ETF TQQQ for the long positions and SQQQ for the short positions. As you can tell from this equity curve, Bank has been going up in a straight line, continuing to make all-time highs, and we are absolutely crushing this market, up over 56% year to date, while the S&P 500 is only up around 24%. So if you want to come crush the market with us, you can find out how to join Bank below. So going into tomorrow, I think this level right around 467 is very important. Whether we break below that level or bounce from it is going to tell you how you should be trading SPY. Now, also keep in mind, we are still in a bull trend, so there's no reason to get overly bearish during the pullback. More than likely, it's going to find support and continue to push higher. On the NASDAQ 100 triple Qs, we were down 1.49% with a perfect rejection from that resistance zone right around 409. And we did break two support levels. We broke down below the 5 EMA and we broke down below that support at 404. So if price action continues to break today's low with tomorrow's price action, that should tell us we are coming down here to fill this gap just below 399. If we can't hold the gap fill as support, we come down to 396. And if we break below 396, which is also going to be the rising 20 daily moving average, then we come back down to the breakout at 391. 391 is the level that I'm considering the critical support. So we could go all the way down towards 391 and still find a higher low to continue higher. Now keep in mind, the triple Qs are just barely breaking out to all-time highs, and they are very likely going higher towards 414. So during this pullback, do not be surprised if it just ends up with a higher low and we continue to push higher. And there's a very good chance the triple Qs are going to be at much higher prices within the next few weeks. So as I continue to tell you, these are bull trends, so do not get overly bearish during pullbacks while in a bull trend. Usually pullbacks during a bull trend are buying opportunities because the trend is your friend and people will be looking to buy at support until the trend rolls over. If the trend rolls over, price action is going to need to break down below 391. And until that day comes and until the price action proves it wants to break down, there's no reason to assume it will. On the Dow Jones, we were down 1.25% today with a perfect rejection from that price target up there at 376. And we did break down below the 5 EMA. So that means we're likely coming back down towards support zones at 370 and 367. If we can't hold that support, we come back down towards 360 and 363. On the Russell 2000 IWM ETF, we were down 2.31% today with another perfect rejection from that resistance at 201, and we did break down below the support at 197, which is a very good chance below 197 that we are going to come down here and fill this gap at 193. If we continue lower from there, we need to hold the breakout at 191, and that's also going to be a support trend line that we need to hold for the bulls to continue to push higher. If the bulls break resistance at 201, I have the price target up there at 203, and the price target at 203 is only valid while we're above 197, which we are currently not. On the ARKK ETF, we were down 4.08% today with a clear break of that support trend line, and we do have this gap to fill down here at 50, so that is a very likely downside target. If we continue lower below 50, we have the rising 20 daily moving average and support zone right around 49. Below 49, we come all the way back down below 46. If we continue higher and we break resistance, we still have the upside next price targets at 45.6 and 56.8. On the VIX, we were up 9% today, and I told you there was a good chance the VIX was going to spike very soon into the closing weeks of the month because we were likely going to get a pullback, and so far that is what we're seeing with the VIX closing out above 13. Now keep in mind, with the VIX spiking, it's not bearish as long as the VIX can stay below 18, and there's a good chance during the pullback the VIX could spike as high as 15 to 16. So again, these are not necessarily bearish indications. It's more than likely just a pullback within a bull trend. but keep an eye on the VIX, and as long as it stays below these elevated levels, it's likely a buying opportunity as long as price action holds above support. Remember, we need the indices to break down below critical support levels before we get anything more than a pullback, and if we get anything more than a pullback, we'll have plenty of time to adjust and become more bearish. On Bitcoin, we're currently up around 3%, and Bitcoin is trying to break outside the top of the wedge, which is going to require a break of this resistance at 44,000, and if we do that, the next upside target will be 47,500. If we break down below the support, that's going to require a breakdown below 40,500, and that should bring us back down towards support and the price target at 38,000. On Nvidia stock, we were down 3% today, and Nvidia is getting that strong rejection from 504, which I told you was a very good possibility because this stock is likely going to be stuck in a range until we get a very clear breakout of the range. So there's no reason to assume the range is going to break. We simply need to wait for a price action close above 504. And we did not have that. If anything, we started to see selling as we came into that resistance. So this sharp sell-off should not be any surprise. And it is coming back into support right around 475. So this is the expectation. Even though we did go a little higher than the 480s, we didn't really expect a breakout. And now we're getting a strong rejection. So as we come into support, pay attention to it, because if we hold support, then it's possible we go back up and attempt the breakout at 504. But if we break support, it's still possible we come all the way down here into the 430s and 420s before we ever start another bull rally in this stock. Doesn't guarantee this is going to be right just because I drew an arrow, but you have a very clear price action breakout above 504 before you should be becoming bullish. On Tesla stock, we were down 3.92% today, and I told you if Tesla broke above 244 to 246, it would likely go to 255 and then 260. And then once we got to 260, we were way outside the upper Bollinger Band at resistance, and that was the perfect place to sell. Whether you were long or wanted to short, there was the equal amount of selling. You were either taking profits as a bull or entering short positions as a bear, and that is why we get such high volume selling on a day like today. We're back down below the 5 EMA, and we're sitting right on top of the support zone between 244 and 246. So this is where the bulls need to show up, because if the bulls want to push higher into the 270s, they need to hold this support at 244 to 246. If the bulls cannot hold this support and the bears break the support, then we come back down towards a gap fill at 225. So 244 to 246 is a great risk level for bears or bulls alike. You're either shorting below it or staying long above it. It doesn't matter which trade you take. As I always say, it only matters that you manage risk. So if you want to stay bullish, you can, but if that support breaks, there's a great chance we're going down to 225. And if you're still shorting and we bounce from this support, you're playing with fire, because that means we could be bouncing and getting ready to break 260. On Apple stock, we were down 1% today, and Apple did get rejected from that resistance at 197. And this is starting to look like a triangle and or a wedge as we continue to consolidate between 194 and 197. In my opinion, when you're getting consolidation, it's a lot easier to just wait for the breakout so you can get more bullish above 197 to 198. And if we break 194, it likely means we're coming back down to 190. If we can't hold 190, then we come down and finally fill that gap at 186. So jumping back over to the S&P 500, this could be day one of a pullback that could be multiple days long. And this is healthy because we needed a pullback to a higher low for the bulls. And if we do get a pullback and we continue to pull back for the rest of the week, that does continue to open up the opportunity for a Santa Claus rally, which is the last week of December into the first few days of January. Now, I don't really care what you want to call it. It's more important that you manage risk around these critical levels and let the price action do all the talking. And just be aware, this is still a bull trend. So as we are pulling back, that is not necessarily the time to continue to short the market. That is the time to get out of any short positions you might have and consider going long at support. You need to throw your bias out the window because this is a strong bull market, and the only way it's not going to be a strong bull market is if the price action breaks through some very critical support levels. So as we continue to pull back, and if we continue to pull back, make sure you have realistic expectations and understand that we are still in a very strong bull trend. So as I said in the introduction, we are absolutely crushing this market on Bank Trade Alerts, making brand new all-time highs week after week. So if you want to come crush the market with us, you can find out how to join Bank by clicking on the link in the description of this video. You can also join the Stocks Channel Discord and get access to all of my intraday updates and analysis. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you're crushing this market. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.